Okay, I'm Larry Hanna. I'm a teacher, a part-time instructor at CSN and a commercial photographer for more years than I want to talk about. But I'm sitting here with Rochelle Roberts, who's is a business coach for creatives, and her company is called Envision with an I, and her website is getenvision.com. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Rochelle's been a good friend and helping me out quite a bit with my business class. Giving instruction to up-and-coming photographers. So, Rochelle, how did you really get started in the business that you're doing?
I was a partner in a graphic design firm, and I found that I was much better at understanding how creatives run the business side than I was at running the design business. And it was a great experience because I took so much away. My partner and I had a very successful business, and we did great things, and then we both needed to kind of go our own way. And when we did that, I found a deep passion and love to help creatives be successful, because, as you know, so many times there's a hiccup when it comes to running the business end. So that's where I excelled, was getting clear about who and what they are, and it informed the business part of it, and that's where I get my juice. That's what I love. That's my own creativity.
Yeah. You know, exactly. I've been in business for 36 years in Vegas, and I've seen in that time so many guys come in town with a lot of talent but go out of business because they have no business sense.
Right.
And I think that's the fault of a lot of the photography schools, is they don't give you any business education. You know, basically how to run a business and the pitfalls and so forth. Everybody wants to do it because it's fun. And now that we have digital photography, it's much simpler. And so more people are going into it, and more people are going to fail, because it's, you know, everyone kind of wants to do something that's fun, and it is fun, but it's a lot of work too, you know. And I've had, there's a girl that had my class last semester who went off in the business now, and you know, and finding how hard it is to get. You just don't put your shingle out there and all of a sudden they're knocking your door down. It takes a while to build your business, so you have to have a little bit. You have to acquire that business sense and develop it. And so, tell me what you do. So, say if I'm starting a business and I have an idea what I want to do, and I'm just not sure how to get started. How do you play into that?
Well, if say you came to me and asked for help, I start with a packet of questions that I have my clients evaluate the business overall as a whole, from the marketing to their client relationships. You know, they may not have client relationships yet, but maybe they do. And their creative expression, the whole pie of the business. So we kind of go through that first to kind of get where their head's at. And then once we go through those questions, which is like the first 1 or 2 sessions, then I give them the one-page, I call it the one-page business plan. And because 1 page is enough of getting clear about who they are, what they're about, and in the world it's a vision statement, mission statement, and then their objectives, and how they see strategically for them to implement those objectives. And then what's their day-to-day plan? How do they plan on implementing everything that we've written from a day-to-day, very practical perspective? And so that's where we start, is with that simple. A lot of times people think they've got to have the thick business plan, or they think I don't need a business plan at all. And I think that I try to find the happy medium. That's where I start.
Yeah, there's, you know, when I've talked to my son was a business major, and so and he was kind of laughing when I was teaching a business class, because I've never had a business class in my life. I've learned it the hard way.
That's the best way.
It is. You never forget it when you learn it the hard way. So anyway, he said, well, that's not a business plan, because I basically do a strategic business plan like what you're discussing. They have an idea of where you're going and how to get there, whereas business people, when they think of a business plan, they think of that 30-page document that's basically full of bullshit. You know, that
nobody ever reads again.
And it's basically, and the only time you really need that is if you're going for financing or go to an investor. And these days, in this economy, try and get financing for a photographer, you're just wasting your time.
Right.
Now, you got to have a rich uncle or marry rich. Either way. So I don't, and I know the guy that taught this class before would have people do a formal business plan, but I don't. I want people to know how to do it if they have to, but basically I want people to have, like what you do, just that one-page thing, and so, because you have to have goals. If not, you're just going to go around in a circle.
And I always say that one-pager, it's good to have up. It's good to revisit it because it's growing. It's alive. It's supposed to morph over time, but it's there so that way when we're freaking out about what am I doing this for, we can revisit it. We can remember why it's written. It's something that brings our mind back to what am I doing this for? Why? What are my goals? It brings us back to, even I think a lot of times what happens is sometimes is if you're not packed with clients and you're in your office, you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I do with my time? And I think the plan brings it down to very practical of how to spend our time. When we don't, and when we have a load of clients, it also brings it down to how do I still focus on the business when I have all this business to keep it dialed into what makes me happy, what is bringing in the amount of money that I want, and so on. It also, I think, oh, I lost my thought. I thought I was going somewhere, I lost it.
Now, you know, the thing about business that I've noticed is that what works today might not work tomorrow. You know, and that's what you have to be so flexible, and particularly with the recession that we had. I mean, I know so many people that went out of business or moved to different cities and so forth because all of a sudden, you know, you had to kind of reevaluate things. People weren't spending the money, and it's gotten more competitive too because digital is really kind of lowered the learning curve with photography. How often do you think you need to revisit your business plan and reset your goals?
I think 100% every year. That's kind of, I see, when I was a kid, I owe this all to my mom, why I'm a coach, because she, every year on New Year's Day, since I could write, my mom would have us write down what are our goals, you know, what we wanted to accomplish down to, you know, I was 5, it was like, read this amount of books. But she had us write it down. And I cherished that because I felt like as a kid I grew up thinking, knowing that was powerful. And so I think once a year to really do what am I focusing on? What's my intention for the year is, I think that's enough. And I think that it's important to be checking in monthly of where am I? Almost, if it's you, yourself, and you, it's like, you know, a meeting of the minds of re-looking at, am I doing what I said I was going to do? It's like the board meeting, and even if it's with yourself, whoever it's with, if it's the company, I think everybody should at least look at that once a month, at least.
Yeah, and so, you know, and you have to kind of evaluate what's working, what's not working, and toss it out. So how do you go about that? I mean, as far as like marketing and so forth.
Yeah.
Any ideas on that?
Yeah, I mean that's a tough one. Marketing is so. It's. My big thing about marketing is I think what's really important is that we all focus on what's part of our personality, what. I like to connect with people. I have many clients who, at your last class, who talked about being shy. So I think that marketing plans have to be it's your voice coming out. So it has to be unique to who you are. And I think that it's not just a standard of everybody should do social media this way and that much. And I think each marketing plan needs to be very particular to each person. And I think what a great way to evaluate is to go back to your goals and say, if I said that I wanted to create $5,000 a month consistently for the next year, and I'm barely hitting 2,000 a month, something's up, we need to reevaluate. And that's why I think it's really powerful to write things down. I hear so often that it's, well, I've got it in my head. That's not enough. Because that, in fact, that causes more stress. Because we're already trying to maintain our day-to-day, our schedules. Remember that appointment, do this, do that. That when we write it down, it dumps it. It gives us a brain dump and kind of frees up more space to be in the moment and to know what we're doing right now. And I think that also part of writing it down, it doesn't mean that that's the end-all be-all. It means we have something to go back to and reference. Because we like you just said, we have to be flexible. Things change. We're changing. The world is changing faster than ever. That when we reference that paper that we started, it's such an amazing creation. That in itself is an art project because we're creating. And I think when we reference it back, then we have kind of a place to rest, a place to go, oh yeah, I remember I wanted that, or I remember that's important to me, or crap, that's not important to me anymore. And I think that right there is, sometimes we realize that certain things that was important to us a year ago isn't as important to us now.
It's very true.
Things change.
You know, I think as far as marketing goes and networking and so forth, it's gotten so much easier now with social networking and websites.
Right.
You know, when I first started, you had to have 3 or 4 portfolios because you'd send them out and it would be gone, you know, for sometimes 2 months. You know, because they'd get it and sit on it and so forth, and you don't want to call back, hey, give me my darn book.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you have to have several of them, and then now I have one, but I probably haven't updated it 3 or 4 years because everybody just goes to their websites. It's
Sure.
much simpler. And plus with the social networking, you can really have that avenue to connect with a lot of people. And that's how I think you and I met.
Yes, it is.
It was through a mutual friend on Facebook.
Yeah.
And it's worked out great because now we've become good friends. And I've kind of abused it. I keep bringing her to my business class.
I like it a lot.
And
it's fun.
no, but it works out great. And so, you know, I've met a lot of people just through Facebook, and you know, getting your name out there to other people that you can really hit a bunch of people very simply and very cheaply.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the
Yes.
thing.
Right there.
Yeah.
It's inexpensive.
Because you know, I used to
And effective.
Yeah, we used to do a lot of our marketing with direct mail, but
Sure.
you know, it didn't cost me that much to get the cards printed, but the postage just eats you up. You
Oh,
know?
sure.
So it's a great way to go.
And not that that's all gone.
No.
It's just that there's all these, there's a pie and there's different pieces in the pie now.
Mm-hmm.
There's more pieces,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I think, you know, I've always done my marketing not a blast, but like target market.
Mm-hmm.
And I go after certain people, you know, and just because you can waste a lot of time and money going after different people,
Yes.
wrong people.
Yes.
So,
I think that's really important right there.
yeah,
You and I have talked about that before as target, your market.
yeah. Like we had a guy in my class last semester who was going to put a billboard up for photography. Come on, you know how expensive they are, you know, and it's just like who's going to see that?
Somebody must have offered him and told him who knows what.
Yeah.
Not that that's bad either, but
They're expensive, but it's not. It's a kind of a foolish
that's
place
a great
to run.
point.
Yeah.
Okay, what you did, that's a great point right there, Larry. I don't know if we want to go off on this, but is that because Joe's doing it down the street, sometimes we think we have to do it. And that is a pitfall. That is a pitfall for most creatives and especially photographers, because they see other people doing a billboard and we have no reason to bring it down of why would that be an effective tool now for us.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know, and I think particularly in photography is you need to be unique, you know, because there's just, you know, everybody's out there doing, say, senior portraits, something like that. But, you know, if you aren't doing something a little different, they're just going to go by price.
That's
or
right.
reputation. You know, that's another thing too. In business, I think one of the key things is building relationships with clients and customers and so forth.